What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And on today's episode, it's Saturday, so it's the Mailbag episode. So we're going to get into all your voicemails on this episode. We got everything from the Demar Derozan interview to we talking about the Bulls did more in the offseason than what fans are giving them credit for. And then lastly, Vuce, it's from Shay. We'll get into all that and more on today's Chicago Bulls Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So, hey, first, you can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me on Chicago Bulls Central, and I greatly appreciate it. So this first voicemail, this one is from Marvin, and he talks about Demar Derozan. We're going to go ahead and let it jump right into it. Go ahead, Marvin.
What's going on, guys? Just wanted to chime in on that Demar Derozan interview. I think there was an interesting interview, guys. I think it shows character build, and it shows growth in a human, in a man, actually. Think about it, guys. He's talking about being a little afraid of leaving Compton when most people are afraid to go to Compton. Well, I was born in Gary. I remember when I moved down here to Dallas, I was 21. But one thing Gary taught me was I guess it taught me to be kind of tough. I wasn't quite as afraid. But I just want to say, it shows the character, guys, that the Bulls are trying to build this organization around. I think it's a pretty good start to everything. But to DeRozan, I did want to throw these numbers out, guys. I know this is kind of far-fetched, but listen to this, guy. You know, Demar Derozan shot last year 50% from the field, 35% from three, and 87% from the free throw line. Now, you know, we talk about the 50-40-90 guy. He was very close. Now, the three-point percentage, because he doesn't shoot very many, he only shot 35%. He hit 87% from the free throw line, and he shot 50% from the field this year. So I think we kind of underappreciate exactly what DeMar did for this club. With the additions, I think we can bring his minutes down. He played just about the fifth most minutes of his career last year. I think we need to get those minutes down. With the additions and the health of Alonzo Ball, and I'm going to keep addressing that, Alonzo Ball brings a lot to this club. But I really enjoyed that, and I thought that interview was real nice. And it kind of boils back to the character guys the Bulls are bringing in. So the Bulls can keep that same thing going on and you know, get the young guys involved. I think the Bulls can be all right. But I did just want to chime in on that and get those splits on DeMar. I don't think he should have to take that many shots this coming up year. I hope we can get Pat developed a little better. So let's see what the Bulls can get done, guys. Take care.
All right, so Marvin brings up several great points. The fact that DeMar playing one of the highest minutes of his career, almost being that elite 50-40-90 that him and Zach LaVine have flirted with over the course of the season, especially when Zach LaVine was healthy. So the thing with DeMar DeRozan, right? And I said it before in my last video. Yes, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel excellent to just continue to see what we've seen from DeMar DeRozan in his Chicago Bulls career thus far, right? He's been a great Bull. He's been a great player for us. He's been a great leader in a lot of ways as well, leading that team, coming in, doing what he needs to do, being our leading scorer, having one of the best statistical years of his whole entire career happen last season with the Chicago Bulls. Now, the minutes, right? And I've said this before, you know, some people in the comments did disagree, but I do think DeMar DeRozan's minutes should and need to go down. You can go and look at my videos 10, 15 games into the season. I said it. I wanted to see him and Zach LaVine's minutes come down more to that 32, 33 minute per game range. Because, yeah, while DeMar is still very much in his prime and in a lot of ways, he's no spring chicken anymore. You want to, if you can, right? Since you have the depth, since you do have the ability to, especially if Dalen Terry does come along, you want to see other players be able to step in. Now, DeMar's impact that he has can be the same. It can even be more next season, while his minutes and his numbers maybe take a little bit of a hit. It all depends on how this team works. It all depends on how the bench players perform. It depends on what the coaching staff sees and does out there. A fully healthy Zach LaVine, hopefully for a full season as well, allows DeMar to play a little bit less minutes than he did last season. All those things could go into DeMar DeRozan playing less minutes than what we saw him and had to have him play last season. And, you know, to Marvin's point there, even talking about Vuce, DeMar and Vuce were the most, they were on the floor the most for the Chicago Bulls, basically. And yeah, we needed that, especially at a time where we had players coming in and out of the lineup. DeMar and his veteran presence, the fact that he's been there, it did wonders for the Chicago Bulls. We needed that to happen, but hopefully a year of a step up, more Patrick Williams, more healthy Zach LaVine, Dalen Terry maybe being ready to come in, contribute at heavy minutes, as well as that power forward position being a little more streamlined. DeMar played a lot of minutes at power forward last season as well. And hopefully, Marco coming along, things like that, we start seeing those minutes be able to go down without it hurting the team, right? We don't have to rely on DeMar to play those heavy minutes. We still need to rely on him very much so to be the impact player on this team. I'm not saying that, but we don't need to see him play those heavy minutes per game that we saw last season. But other than that, listen, DeMar's been great. There's nothing negative that I personally can say about DeMar DeRozan because he's been excellent. He's been everything that and more that I thought we were going to get from DeMar when he signed with the Chicago Bulls. And hats off to him for being able to do that. But let me know down below, what do you think about Marvin's voicemail? What do you think about DeMar DeRozan maybe being able to take a little bit of less of a heavy load for the Chicago Bulls, but still have as much of an impact? And to Marvin's point as well, bringing up Lonzo Ball coming in, doing other things and being able to do more of the ball handling, something I've been saying for a while too. I want to see Lonzo more in the half court. All those things could contribute to DeMar DeRozan not having to play as many minutes, not having to take as many shots, still be our clutch player, right? Still be the king of the fourth because we will need that. But all those other things, we'll see how that goes for DeMar DeRozan. This one is from Jose, who's been here for a long time, viewer of Chicago Bulls Central. Let's go ahead and get into Jose's voicemail here.
Hey, what's good, Hey, this is Jose from Puerto Rico. Shout out to you. Don't miss, any of your podcasts. So keep on doing your thing, bro. Listen, I have more so just a comment to make. I've been listening to some of these podcasters from Chicago. I'm going to name the person because seriously, Will Gottlieb, and I honestly, I like these guys. I like, what they bring in terms of what they, talking about the Chicago Bulls. But we need to stop with this narrative that the Bulls haven't done anything in the off season. I mean, maybe to your liking, or I'm saying to Will Gottlieb's liking, the Bulls haven't done anything. But to me, they've done plenty. I mean, nobody's talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. What have the Milwaukee Bucks done to make themselves better? Nobody's talking about them, but yet everybody's talking about, Chicago hasn't done this, Chicago hasn't done this. All these other teams in the Eastern Conference have made good decisions and upgraded their roster. Chicago did it to an extent. They basically had to deal with what they had, with the cards that they were dealt. So basically the moves they made were moves that were, of people that were needed on the team. For some reason or another, people seem to think that we're going to find one player that's going to encompass all of these things that the Bulls need, and that's impossible. You're not going to find just one player to be able to take all these deficiencies that the Bulls have. So they have to take it step by step, and I think they're doing right. Me being positive, I think they're doing right in, just seeing how this roster plays out this year. They had a great season up until All-Star break, and they were still dealing with injuries. So this is why I understand why management decided, let's run this move back and let's see what happens with a healthy group. So this is my comment on that. Much love, bro, all the way from Puerto Rico, Jose. So take care of yourself. Peace.
All right, another great one from Jose. Pretty long one there, Jose. I need you to get that a little bit shorter. I'm just poking some fun. Thank you for contributing to the show. The thing is, and he mentions Will Gottlieb specifically. Will's my boy. He's over there on CHGO Bulls with the people that passed the torch to me on Locked On Bulls and Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson. But I will say this, Will Gottlieb is a little bit harsher. The thing that I think with this, and fans are as well, let me not just make this about Will. There are a lot of fans that are harsh on the Bulls offseason, and we'll see how it all comes together. But keep in mind, every offseason is not going to be the offseason of a bunch of moves, right? You have to plan accordingly, and hopefully AK and Eversley have a plan. I've talked about it before. The Chicago Bulls can have $20 million of true cap space next season on top of another exception as well. They maintain that by not setting players to long-term deals, things like that. So if that does come to fruition, I can then understand it. And maybe one of those things that retroactively we can go back and say, hey, all right, 2022 offseason, the Bulls didn't do a lot, but look what they did in 2023. And that's made possible by the fact that they didn't sign themselves up for any long-term money. It could be possible, right? But I understand the mindset of you go at it now. If woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? If a fifth was a fifth, I don't even know. Like Pat the designer has a saying, I just tried to steal and I couldn't even fucking say it right. So with that being said, though, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? You can always think back of, okay, well, if they did this, if they did that, they should have did this. At the end of the day, it's all about, you do have to have some forward thinking in your free agent moves. I've talked about it before. Like the Vooch trade was a very calculated trade because, yeah, you get Vooch in here for 2.5 seasons before his contract's up, and you're not signing or trading for a superstar that still has 5 years on the contract, things like that. So it was a calculated risk. And that risk could come to fruition in the Chicago Bulls having big time cap space next season. We'll see, right? We'll see. But I do understand that some Bulls fans don't want it to wait. Some Bulls fans do have this, oh, it's a 3-year window. Well, now a 2-year window because that's when DeMar DeRozan's contract was. I've always been very vocal on the fact it's not a 3-year window, especially if Zach LaVine signed his max deal, which he did. The Bulls still have Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu coming along. Lonzo Ball still very young, going to be here for a while. Things like that. It's not a 3-year window. It's only a 3-year window if you're short-sighted and only can and that's all you can see for it. But with having AK and Eversley, it's not about a 3-year window. Hell, it may not even be about a 5-year window. Now, yes, we want to see them compete. We want to see them be in the best position there. We don't want to wait 3, 5, 4 years before the Bulls can be contenders. You want to see that as quick as possible. But sometimes the way to be true contenders as quick as possible means the deals that you don't make. It means not assigning yourself to long-term money for a player that doesn't necessarily get you over the hump. And that's been my biggest thing with this as well. I've asked a lot of people, and not anybody has given an answer on a realistic signing that the Bulls could have made or a trade that the Bulls could have made, regardless of luxury tax, whatever else. Give me a realistic signing that the Bulls could have made, considering this is the biggest thing that fans don't do either. They either try to match salary. The trade machine is one of the worst things that could have ever happened to a lot of sports fans because they just don't actually think about the other team. But taking in the needs and wants of the other team as well as the Bulls' needs and wants. And keep in mind, one of those wants is not trading Patrick Williams. So because of that, there really wasn't a deal on the table that made the Bulls surefire contenders. Were there deals that on paper would have made the Bulls better? Abso-fucking-lutely. Right? Absolutely. Than what they did this season. But I do think that and I've said it before, the Andre Drummond signing, I think it's going to be better than some Bulls fans are giving the credit for, and wait till they see it on the court. In my opinion, a lot of Bulls fans are starting to be like the media was towards the DeMar DeRozan signing last season, meaning that, the Bulls didn't really do nothing. They spent a bunch of money on nothing. Just wait. Wait to see how this team comes together, especially if they're more healthy. Now, to Jose's other point, the concept and the idea that people have that a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference have gotten better. I look at the Eastern Conference, and not a lot of teams have gotten significantly better. The Philadelphia 76ers, they did their thing. They brought in PJ Washington, and yeah, he's going to do great for them, right? And a lot of people look at the Hawks. The Hawks made a move, and a great move, but I'm not looking at that move. Keep in mind, the Bulls finished above the Hawks last season. I don't look at that move sending the Hawks too far above the Chicago Bulls. Let's take a look at let's do this. Let's take a look at the teams in the Eastern Conference, right? In the standings last season. First up, we got the Miami Heat who finished first. It's about a wash for them. They didn't get any worse. I don't think they didn't get any hugely better either. If anything, some could say that they got worse. The Boston Celtics bringing in Brogdon, they got better. Brogdon comes in and brings a lot of what they need. They've gotten better, but they were already better than the Chicago Bulls. The Milwaukee Bucks didn't get considerably better in my opinion. They pretty much stayed about the same. The Philadelphia 76ers, I already said it. I can understand them getting a little bit better. The Toronto Raptors, it took us to win 6 games in the last half of the season for them to pass us. I'm not looking at them getting considerably better keep in mind, this is me saying if the Bulls stay healthy. The Brooklyn Nets, we don't even know what the fuck's going on with the Brooklyn Nets. They didn't get better. The Atlanta Hawks, while they did add talent to that team on paper, absolutely. Let's see how it comes together. We still don't know what's going on with Colin Sexton. I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks. I moved on. The Atlanta Hawks, I already talked about the trade that they made. I don't think that made them a considerably better team. I think that did make them better, but I'm not looking at that trade to say, oh, they're all of a sudden miles above the Chicago Bulls. No, come on now. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying, especially when you have Ayo Dosunmu's son and Trae Young on that team. Let's see how DeJounte Murray meshes with that team. They're going to have some defensive issues overall anyway, but DeJounte Murray is a hell of a player. I'm not saying they haven't gotten better, but I'm saying to the point to where some Bulls fans are, I don't think that they've gotten considerably better to the point where I would put them over the Chicago Bulls. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the youth as well, like development is going to possibly skyrocket them up. So we'll see what happens with that. The Charlotte Hornets, I don't think the Charlotte Hornets got considerably better. They did get a player that I wanted in Mark Williams, who didn't look the best in Summer League, which really doesn't always mean the most. But even that being said, if they've gotten better, they finished at the 10 seed last year. They had 43 wins. The Chicago Bulls did only have 3 wins better than them at 46. But again, considering all the injury concerns and everything that happened, let's wait and see how it works out. New York Knicks, they added Brunson, but still will probably be a 39-win team. So I'm looking at this. The Detroit Pistons absolutely got better. And the Orlando Magic were there at the bottom of the conference, and they're so young. I'm not looking like people overrate sometimes the moves that either a team, another team does make, or underrate a move that your team did not make. Again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have wanted to see the Bulls go after better players. I absolutely would have. There are some players that I would have liked to see the Bulls sign over Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic, absolutely. But I'm looking at the East, and again, considering health, and one may say that you don't want to bet on health, I don't think that the other teams in the East have gotten that much better to where I'm like, oh, all is doom and gloom with the Chicago Bulls offseason. That's my personal opinion. You can let me know what you think about that one down below. Let's get into this next voicemail. This one is from Marcus.
What's up, Hayes? It's your boy Marcus. I did a voicemail earlier in the season. I believe it was early in the season. But yeah, I just wanted to get my Bulls all-season thoughts and what I think and going into next season. So I believe that the Bulls pretty much had a good off-season. It's pretty much what you would expect from a team that made the playoffs, need a little bit more improvement, and didn't have a lot of money in off-season and for free agency. I think the Bulls pretty much improved their roster with Dragic and Drummond. They was able to address some needs, not all of them, but they was able to address some needs going into the season. I believe that it's very crucial for a team that's trying to win to bring back the core and players, because it builds the trust with the players and the team. It allows the coaching staff to have a little bit more time to develop the young players, but also it allows the core players to build that leadership going down to the young players. So I feel like that is crucial for the Bulls' success going into next season, what they did this offseason. And then also my prediction for this next season is I believe that the Bulls will be very, very similar to how they did last year, but I do believe they will add about 4 to 5 more wins to their win column, because there was a lot of games that they had last season that they could have improved on, that they could have won. But I believe that they're still going to be that 5 to 6 range, even though they may come back fully healthy during the season. I believe they still going to be within that middle of the pack type teams, because the East is so deep right now. It's very hard to tell where they're going to land in the standings. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I also got a new YouTube channel that I'm starting as well, and it's called Bulls on the Run Podcast, and I'm just starting off. So let me know if you got any tips on that, and how can I get started. Peace out. This was Marcus.
Marcus, again, kind of with the same thing as Jose, talking about the Bulls offseason, that they had a good offseason. They did. I really do think that Andre Drummond is going to have a bigger impact than what fans are thinking. I do. Again, keep in mind, I wasn't as high on the signing either. But I do think it's going to be better. He's going to be much better than anything we had as a backup center last season for sure. So we'll see what goes on with that. Follow that up. Dalen Terry. We'll see what happens with Dalen Terry. You guys know, you saw the video. I was completely shocked at the fact that Dalen Terry was the pick there. But everything I've seen, everything I've researched, everything that the kid has said since then has made me more and more excited about Dalen Terry being a member of the Chicago Bulls and thinking his defense and energy may be something that gets him on the court early in his rookie season. So, yeah, I don't think, again, it's not a great offseason. I wouldn't say that at all. I don't think the Bulls got any worse. I think that they could have gotten considerably better off of who already was on this team and progression being made. But I do look at Dalen Terry, Goran Dragic, Andre Drummond as players that can definitely help the Chicago Bulls get better. They didn't get hugely better, but considering health, considering improving that bit some, I do think that the Bulls are looking at a chance at a 50-win season, if not up to 55 wins. That's how I think about it. You guys let me know what you think about it down below. All right. Last voicemail for today. This one is from Shay.
Hey, Hayes, what's up? I was thinking, a lot of Bulls fans, and I've heard you talk about it as well, talk about how Nikola Vucevic's three-point percentage dropped off. And I'm here to tell you, man, I remember you also saying that Vucevic is a good big man who can shoot, and he's not a shooting big man. I feel like people have lost the sight of that and what he used to do. People were just talking about his three-point shot is not falling, but yet people fail to mention that he had the best defensive rating of his career this season. So he did take a uproar when it comes to improving on one end. Now, look, I understand he didn't shoot well from three, but let's face it, he's not a Dirk Nowitzki. He's more of a post-plan, bang down low big man. The system that we had him in had him shooting threes. And I feel like it's more on a system more than it is him when you think about it, because he wasn't really shooting as much in Orlando. Well, because he was the number one guy. But anyway, tell me what you think.
All right. I got to correct the first thing I'll say. Shay said that Vooch had the best defensive rating of his career. Vooch actually had the highest defensive rating of his career, which is worse. That's bad. That's not good. That's bad. So I think Shay was looking at the numbers and thinking higher was better. Higher is actually worse with defensive rating. Nikola Vucevic did have the worst defensive rating of his career, but he does have a defensive rating for his career of 105.8, which is excellent. And again, his defensive rating last season was 109.6, a lot better than what people are making it out to seem. I know Shay is very much a Nikola Vucevic defender, as he should be, and as are other ones. And as I've said, even when I did the weakest link video, people said Vooch. Vooch is not the weakest link on this team. Did he have a down shooting year? Abso-fucking-lutely. But even with having that down shooting year from the three-point range, he was still one of I think he was top 3 in a three-point shooting percentage for centers. He's not so. With that being said, I think people are more harsh on Nikola Vucevic than need be, in my opinion. Were there times where he settled for shots? Absolutely. I'm not saying that he had the best season, and I hope that he has a better season than what he had last season, and he can. But I think when you look at a player that's your third option on offense, averaging and getting you 17 and 11, with one steal, one block a game, and 3.2 assists per game, again, as I said with everybody, especially people who say Vooch is the weakest link on this team, they're stupid. I'm sorry. Any player that is the top 3 to 5 in every statistical category for their position in their sport is not the weakest link. Unless we have top 3 players at every other position which we don't. So, yes, Nikola Vucevic has his flaws. Absolutely. Some of that, as I always said, some of that goes to the coaching staff and how they've utilized him as well. A lot of that goes around. A lot of blame in what goes into Nikola Vucevic's season. There's a lot of people who need to be held accountable for that. But I do look at it as it's not as bad as what some people will have you think. It's not as good as some people would have you think either. And hopefully he fits into his role better. And with the Bulls betting on continuity, that is one of the things that needs to come from continuity. It's better play, better utilizing players being more comfortable, players getting in their position better, the coaching staff utilizing them better, and creating a scheme that now that you've had a season plus, 2 off seasons now to build that scheme around the skill set of these players and how they fit together. That's what needs to come from continuity in this upcoming season, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bulls. And if for some reason that continuity ends up hurting the Bulls and they do have a considerably worse season, heads need to roll, changes need to be made, and they will be made by what we've seen from AK and Eversley. But let's wait and see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what comes of it. I think it's going to be better than what some fans are giving it credit for, in my personal opinion. But it could also, let me be clear here. I want to be clear. It can absolutely as well go the other way. But let's see. I have faith in it. I see red all day long. New hat in the building. With that being said, I don't know why I just plugged my hat. That's kind of awkward, actually, but fuck it. I did it anyway. But yeah, so that's what I think on that one. Shout out to Shay for always leaving a voicemail as well. But that is it for today's Mailbag episode. I'm sorry that it's late, guys, in the afternoon, but nonetheless, you got it. You could be anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. Thank you for being the best part of Chicago Bulls Central. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls, see red. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.